Hi, everybody. My name is Nicolas McMahon, and apologies because I have a slightly different slide from everybody else. But yeah, so I study astronomy and physics. So today I want to take you on a journey about 900 million light years into space to the galaxy cluster Able 1145. So if you take a moment to examine this image that you see here on the right, you'll see, you might notice a couple of stars, some bright red stars in the foreground. But these stars, aside from that, every little spot, smear, or smudge on this image is a galaxy. Some of these galaxies in the central region of this image fall within a galaxy cluster called Able 1145. And these galaxy clusters are the largest gravitationally bound objects in the universe. But I did skip over this purple thing in the middle. This is the most interesting part of our image. And if you look at these purple contours, you see the shape of an X. This is an X-shaped radio source. So I studied the X-shaped radio source in Able 1145. And this radio source tells a story. Through looking at it using radio waves and X-rays, we can see what looks like gas pressures inside of the galaxy cluster, which tell us all about a supermassive black hole inside of the center of the galaxy cluster. So tracing the X-ray emission and radio emission can tell us a story about this source. And if you want to learn more about how this source might have formed and what the interior structure looks like using X-rays, come check out my poster.
Hi everyone, my name is Clara Isabella Garza, and I'm excited to talk to you today about my project, which is on the prenatal detection of congenital heart disease in rural Oregon. Thank you to Professors Muhammad Zaman for advising this project. So, a prenatal diagnosis of congenital heart disease is associated with various favorable outcomes when compared to a postnatal diagnosis. This is primarily due to a decreased risk of delayed intervention, as well as facilitating planned perinatal care and delivery at a tertiary care facility. This is particularly important for rural populations who may not have access to a hospital equipped to manage the perinatal care of an infant born with severe congenital heart disease. So prior to the development of administration of prostaglandins as an intervention, many infants born outside of a tertiary care facility did not survive transport for surgical intervention. A prenatal diagnosis greatly facilitates early administration of prostaglandins, enabling any hospital to be equipped to manage and stabilize an infant prior to transport for surgical intervention. Improved access to diagnostics such as fetal echocardiograms is essential for developing an equitable healthcare system. Access to fetal echocardiograms is greatly limited to a large portion of eastern and central Oregon, and with the exception of one pediatric cardiology center, the Children's Heart Center of Central Oregon, many patients are required to travel upwards of 3 hours to receive a fetal echocardiogram, creating a significant barrier to care. Which brings me to my project, which analyzes rates of prenatal detection from the Children's Heart Center of Central Oregon in an effort to determine the effectiveness and utility of a regionalized pediatric cardiology care at prenatally detecting congenital heart disease and facilitating transport to a tertiary care center for delivery. Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Madison. I'm a senior in the Questrom School of Business, studying finance and business law, and my project is called Prospera, Empowering Puerto Rico's Small Businesses. Prospera takes a data-driven approach to, a data-driven approach to business development that prioritizes efficiency and long-term sustainability for the business, focusing specifically on the need for information systems. My work focused on the west coast of Puerto Rico because this is an up-and-coming area for tourists where family businesses dominate the system. Traditionally, a lot of tourism is seen in the capital of Puerto Rico, San Juan, but in the recent 5 years, a large influx has been coming to the west coast. So these small businesses here need to focus on business development and information systems to ensure that they can sustain this influx. In businesses such as these, the transfer of knowledge from one generation to the next is often overlooked, leading to gaps in the information, hindering the long-term success of the business, thus the need for information systems. I worked with a small business in Puerto Rico, actually my family's business, automating all their data for their payroll and expenses in order to allow them to efficiently make financial decisions that will help them long-term. And also by having this database and all of their data automated, it allows them to ensure long-term success because they now have historical records of all of the decisions they've made.
First of all, hi Mom, hi Dad. They're watching from home. Hi, my name is Isabella Roman, and my project is titled Towards Inclusive Autism Care, Overcoming Barriers for Underserved Populations. Special thanks to my mentor, Dr. Mercurio, who's sitting in the back. I love you. This project was started as a lit review intended to investigate the barriers and disparities in treatment for underserved populations for children with autism. What we found is, through this lit review, there is a huge disparity in age of diagnosis and accessing treatment, both of which have serious consequences long-term for the development of children as they grow. Furthermore, we also, in this lit review, looked at the innovations working to rectify these disparities, and we found a whole host of different kinds of projects and research that supported that. And lastly, we conducted an analysis to determine what other barriers might also exist and need to be considered for families of children with autism from these underserved communities, such as SES, parental free time, employment, insurance status, and things like that. And I would love to share more about my findings, but I don't necessarily have the time, so please come visit me and ask questions. Thank you so much.
Hi everyone, my name is Melissa Taylor. I'm a senior studying education and human development. Due to health reasons, I actually took a semester off last spring, and so I will be finishing my Keystone this December. So I'll kind of be sharing a little bit of sneak peek into where I'm at right now. Thank you guys all for coming to be here. I see lots of friends. My advisor is also here. I would like to thank my advisor, Dr. Hessa. Yeah, so in my education and human development research and learning, I've learned a lot about educational children's television. I found to be very, very interesting, specifically in the differences between how different countries develop and produce their children's television. So while reviewing the literature, I became fascinated by the production process, specifically for Sesame Street's co-productions. So a team from Sesame Workshop, so it's usually including producers, educators, psychologists, funders, a bunch of different people. They're all collaborating to make what we know and love as Sesame Street. What many people don't know about is that there's actually over 30 co-productions of Sesame Street throughout the world. And so what essentially happens with those is the US Sesame Workshop team will collaborate with all of those different people from another country to make a localized version of Sesame Street in that country that is relevant to the needs and desires of the kids in that country. So for my project, I've been interviewing people who have different roles within the Sesame co-production process. So that's producers, that's educators, that's researchers. I'm hoping to get to talk to like some people who are funding the process as well. And then I'm going to put together a video essay to kind of educate the general audience about what it looks like to actually create one of these co-productions. I'm also producing, or just kind of working on a lit review to kind of learn about all of the different background information there are. So thank you guys so much, and looking forward to sharing more on my poster.